Winning. I've outsmarted you on a number of levels. Beta. Well, actually, King's not. Beta.
That was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck.
Keep your mouth shut. I'm going to go in there and slap your face.
You know, we're going to rise like the phoenix. And
Get in my limousine. Ride on 85. Get in my Learjet. Woo!
Welcome to the Asterix Inclusion Podcast. You've got the King, Koopa himself, as well as the Grizz, talking a little fantasy football. Woo. Grizz, how are you doing today?
Good. Glad to be here and talk some football. Last time we talked about basically the AFC as a whole. We didn't get a chance to get into the NFC. We're both busy and running around. There's a lot of stuff to cover. But a lot's happened in week 2, and I'm ready to dive into it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the league, the Ashland Cup, and start off with the points totals for week 2, or as of week 2. And I'll tell you right now, the big shocker to me is Oracle sitting on top of the poll, just where he likes it.
He's at 313. And we got Magic Mike down at 169, and we kind of discussed this before. You don't want to get too far behind too early. It's rough, and it stinks. I was there the last 2 years, I think, where I got in the hole the first 3 or 4 weeks, largely due to injury, and I think Oracle knows that too. He did it the last 2 years as well, and I'm sure he's happy as can be being at the top here. And, hopefully he keeps it up, and it's nice to be on top, and he's got in terms of week 2 or after week 2, he's got a little cushion already. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's always good to be in the lead. Let me tell you, his team is very explosive, strong, a lot of strong receivers. His QB is solid. I'm still not sure about his running back situation, but the 2 guys at the top, I think Oracle and Drill have the 2 weakest running back situations, and they're killing it right now.
Yeah, fantasy football, it's a marathon. I mean, Darrell Henderson Jr. drafted late by Oracle. That was just, we talk about Akers. Everybody knows about Cam Akers being a huge bust, but Darrell Henderson is he's a running back, 2 possibly, but a decent flex, and he's playing them there. And Antonio Gibson, I mean, you talk about what happened to Oracle last year. I mean, he got Darrell Henderson and Antonio Gibson. I mean, Antonio Gibson was not going to see the field much, I think, unfortunately, after the gunshot wound to Brian Robinson. And we don't know what's going to happen to him when he comes back. So, he's also got Melvin Gordon. And, you're right, though. I think our league, you can start off kind of hot, and running backs, they get hurt a lot. So we'll see how it holds up. I mean, Cooper Kupp is just unbelievable. And DJ Chark. Burrow hasn't really looked very good. He's not doing terrible in fantasy, but again, but Oracle's doing good right now. He's the team to watch out for. And I like Drill's team as well. I liked him a lot going into the draft. And I think Drill's going to be in it towards the end. I do. I think it'll be a top 3 team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, going back to Burrow for a second, I mean, you're right. Like, he hasn't done bad, but he hasn't done as well as some people have hoped. I think, like, the Bengals in general have just been, like, falling flat this year. I'm kind of shocked that they're doing this bad. I don't know if you feel the same way.
I mean, Cincinnati. I think they just I think they really shocked and surprised people last year. And you know how it typically goes in the NFL. It's a copycat league. And usually when the team loses a Super Bowl, the next year is not very kind. And, I mean, that's also a decent division. But the Bengals, I've watched them the first 2 weeks. They're a very sloppy football team right now. And I'm surprised after even going to the Super Bowl that they look, I mean, even offensively. Didn't Burrow have 4 picks week 1?
Yeah. Was it 4 or 5? Was it 4 or 5?
It was a lot.
It was a lot of picks. If you had that defense, that was good. You had a good week.
But we talked about this also. It's just we're going into week 3, and last week Gold won week 1, and this week in week 2, he's last place. So it kind of looked like things were starting to shape up a little bit after week 1. It got a feel, and then week 2 came around and slapped everybody in the face because, I mean, it's just we literally have about 10 teams within like 10 points of each other.
Yeah, I think Gatos and I are less than a point from.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm hoping that it stays this tight at least for another few more weeks. That's always makes the league more exciting, that's for sure. Going back to the draft real quick, we had mentioned Darrell Henderson. I mean, that's a player that potentially could be a Draft Genius Award. I forget what round he took. 11th round, Oracle took him in. I mean, if he continues having a solid season, I mean, he would probably be in the discussion for Draft Genius. Are there any other players that jump out at you that?
Well, we talked about this, and this won't continue, and it's just really unfortunate for Gold because it's probably going to be a top 5 performance all year long. Tua with the Dolphins, the quarterback there. I mean, what did he have? Like 55 points or 53 points? Insane.
Yeah,
I mean,
he blew up.
So he drafted Tua round 13.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I mean, we always talk about this. It's really easy. It's like putting quarterbacks into the Hall of Fame. But I think we need to put more emphasis on the draft, Genius Award going to a player that's non-QB because it's really, I mean, it seems like every year there's somebody, but getting a running back and especially a running back or a good wide receiver in fantasy football late, I think it's even harder to do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is my own opinion on the Draft Genius. I know will never change. Like, it's always going to be the best player from the lowest rounds. But I'm almost kind of curious, like, if we would ever think about giving the Draft Genius for somebody that maybe took a risk. It might have been earlier on, but I mean, somebody like, for instance, Saquon Barkley. I mean, is Saquon back? I mean,
got a lot of stuff. I mean, he even drafted Garrett Wilson around 11. And like I said, drafting Barkley around 2. I did like Barkley. I don't think you did so much of the draft. I was looking at him later in round 2 and 3. I mean, the guy is 25 years old, and we all know he's a freak of nature. It's just got that injury bug. And the Giants, I think the Giants are 2-0. And I did like the hiring of the Bills offensive coordinator there to be the head coach of the Giants. So I kind of put some of those things into play. And, we talked about it week 1. Barkley just blew things up. And, I'm happy for the guy. I hope he can continue. But you're right. There's a lot of risk factors that go in there. And, pick of the draft, and I don't see why it couldn't be rounds 5 or 6 or something. I mean, it's hard to say before that you made a genius pick in round 4.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Gold's got some picks that are working out for him. Garrett Wilson's just doing awesome. He had 30 points last week.
Oh, I know.
Who else you got a really good pick, you think?
I mean, there's a few out there right now. We had mentioned Tua and everything, but who kind of slipped through some cracks here that I was kind of surprised is round 8. And I'm going to butcher his name, is Cordell Patterson from Magic Mike. I mean,
Cordell.
Yeah, like I mean, you have a starting running back. I know it's the Falcons, and it's that's not great, but I mean, you got a starting running back that produces. I mean, he's not, he gets in the teens at round 8. That's how you kind of like, how did that one slip by people? Usually,
name slipped by me. I don't remember his name being spelled that way. I thought it was Cordell.
Yeah.
Who knows? Well, anyway, yeah, you're right. I mean, that is just he is an enigma. I mean, what is he, 10 or 11 years in the league, and he's kind of always had like a weird role. And, he's played wide receiver, was a transfer at UT, and got drafted high by the Vikings, and this is probably like his 6th team in the league, and he's a wide receiver turned running back. I've never seen that in the NFL ever.
Oh, I know. And I mean, he's having a good year. Oh, he had a great year last year, and he's still solid this year. I got another name is James Robinson for Tuna, round 10. I mean, I think we
Everybody
all.
was after him coming off the injury, especially, word on the street and all the magazines and media outlets is draft NTN really high, around 3 or 4. And you know what? People that bought into that got burned. And I was fortunate enough because I was buying into it. I liked him around 4 or 5, but I just didn't get him. So I'm happy I didn't have him on my roster. He may be okay still, but there's a lot of upside in definitely in drafting Robinson.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, and I mean, there's some good talent that's down there for like already after week 2. We're talking Draft Genius about them. It's um, pretty interesting. That's for sure. Is there a pick that stands out to you that you're just like, ooh, that might be the Brokeback Mountain Award winner already?
We discussed some of this. There's nothing really, you know, jumping out at me because everybody, I got a feeling somebody in round 1 is just going to be awful still, like Derrick Henry. Like I don't trust McCaffrey still, and I haven't watched the Panthers much, but McCaffrey's been kind of quiet for a number 2 pick. You think you would, with Baker Mayfield there? I mean, what do you think about CMC? Do you think he's been a bust so far, considering all the changes? Right?
I think like the Panthers in general, they're so poorly coached, and everything's kind of going wrong for them this year. They kind of looks kind of silly on the field, and I think it's McCaffrey's kind of in a rock and a hard place in my opinion. Because for one, I think they have tried to like dial back some of his usage, just because he's been so injury prone the past few years. But when they do that, they really don't have anything. So they either can try to keep running him into the ground, which he'll probably, I mean, he might get hurt, but his numbers will certainly go up, or dial them back still, and they're going to keep losing games. I don't know what the great answer there for them is. It's not
Number
like they can bring more talent in all of a sudden.
number 2 overall, you're banking on Baker because I think with Darnold there, we talked about the 2 at the draft. With Darnold there, I mean, Christian McCaffrey was kind of like kryptonite. You're like, ugh. I was even talking to my brother about him. Like, would you draft him late round 1? But when Baker got there, that created a lot of hype. But there's 2 players I really look at, and it is high because it's really high for round 3. I don't know why anybody would ever draft Ezekiel Elliott.
Mm.
He's been, he's been a top 15 running back. I mean, but like he'll have like 3 or 4 decent games, and it's usually kind of touchdown dependent, or like 1 or 2 games it gets like 150 yards. But I think right now Pollard's better than him in this point in his career. Ezekiel looks slow, and that was high round 3. And then J.K. Dobbins was drafted right after him. The Ravens seem to be in a running back nightmare situation. And I mean, those players, I mean, I don't even know if I'd draft them around 10 if they were there right now. We talked about what would the draft look like if we had it right now. I could see Zeke and Dobbins going far, far down.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't touch a Baltimore running back right now to save my life. I mean, the running back is Lamar Jackson. I think I know he got over 100 yards last game. I don't know what he did his first week, but yeah, Lamar Jackson is the running back in Baltimore and quarterback.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And it's just, as we keep trying to figure out Lamar. And I mean, I had a lot of faith in the Ravens up until this Dolphins game this week. Now I'm just like, there's a lot of teams that you kind of want to trust, like the Rams defense. I got the Rams defense. I even thought about cutting them and just kind of using a floater all year long. But I was like, I'll give them another week or 2. There's just some really odd things going around the NFL. And this is another thing I noticed that a lot of people talk about in terms of fantasy drafts and where do you put them. But, I'm looking at some of these quarterbacks that are drafted like Herbert, Patrick, and Allen. And it seems like we're going into week 3, but between those 3 quarterbacks, it's like they average 40 points a week. And I think next year you'll see those guys go a little bit higher. Drill got really lucky And I'm surprised, especially in our league, that somebody let Mahomes fall to the middle of round 4. I think that's just disgusting.
Well, I mean, I think everybody was looking, without Tariq Hill, they're like, oh, Mahomes is going to take a dip, and I think Mahomes has just proven like Hill who. He's making like all stars out of the scrubs he's got, which is kind of unbelievable. I mean, that
I,
kind of is
I
testament
think
to him.
he's, I think he's pretty much, Allen's nasty, but he's just got that kind of Michael Jordan feel to him. Like
Mhm.
he's into the field. He's still young though.
I
I mean, this is
know.
5th year, and he didn't have the greatest. I mean, his wide receiver talent, I would say, is below average in the league, and it doesn't matter. Imagine if he gets talent there.
Oh, if Kansas City could pull off a trade and bring in, I don't know, like a DK Metcalf to Kansas City, watch out. Like, oh my gosh, he will put up video game numbers overnight.
And I think they got some room to breathe next year. It'll be interesting to see what they did because they got all those draft picks for Tariq, and I can't remember where they stand next year. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's where I kind of stand. There's a couple other things to go through some rounds. Like Jalen Waddle's been really nice.
Mm.
Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions wide receiver. He had a nice week last week. There's some other players making headlines, and a lot of other things are just kind of part of fantasy football. I don't see anything that really just jumps out at me. I do think there are some things like we talked about. Either of us, like Trey Lance, and I think with Garoppolo there, even with Elijah Mitchell getting hurt, Garoppolo being there is going to drastically increase the value of Ayuk, Samuel, and Kittle. It's just a matter of fact ever gets into the game. But that'll be interesting how that works out next 2 or 3 weeks.
Let me just interject a little football talk for a second, but like real football.
Yeah.
Do you think Trey Lance's career is done?
Yes. I thought it was done as soon as he got drafted because like Trubisky and these guys, I mean, you're putting way too much pressure on them. They're not ready. And I mean, he played at a small school where I think his best career passing year was like 17 or like it was like around 2,000 yards. And that was also during COVID years. So I just I would not draft. I mean, drafting a quarterback is the biggest focus. Everybody wants to say they have a franchise quarterback, but long story short, he didn't have a chance. I don't see it ever happening.
Yeah, I think I didn't like the pick the 49ers made when he came out. I thought Mac Jones I thought that was like written in stone for them because they were looking for more of a out of the box quarterback, and Mac Jones was the most NFL ready quarterback in that draft, in my opinion. But no, they went with upside, and they went they went really try to hit the home run with Trey Lance, and I just don't. I think it's going to backfire. I hope he's okay. Obviously, I mean, no one's.
I don't wish ill on anybody either.
Yeah, but I really
Right.
worry about his career going forward.
I mean, the thing is, he's also, in my opinion, in the best situation possible. Debo Samuel's kind of like a Cordell Patterson. You can use him in so many ways. Ayuk, they said, looked really good. Kittle's a Pro Bowl tight end. They got a good offensive line, and that coach there, Shanahan, he's a little bit of an offensive guru. He knows what he's doing. He's offbeat, does some weird things, and done some things in the past I haven't liked, but he puts up numbers, and I think that's what a lot of people said. They liked him being there, and they thought that'd be a great fit, but I just don't see him being able to pick apart defenses and throw. He just, but I say that I make the same kind of argument for Fields. You look at Hurts in Philadelphia, look at Lamar Jackson. There's no reason these guys can't succeed, but I do think you got to be patient and give some of these guys 4 or 5 years, and some teams just don't have that luxury.
No, I agree. It's a win now league, that's for sure. Well, let's just go back to fantasy just real quick, and I just want to talk about just go over some of the week 2 matchups. Last week, Nate Gate and I went through and made our picks. I was 3-3 in my picks, and Nate Gate was 5-1. He ran the gauntlet. The only thing he got wrong was himself, and Tuna beating him. but yeah, just real quick, to go over score recaps. I conquered sleeper 124 to 120. Drill demolished goal 135 to 92. I think that's correct. And who's who's a lost to LTD 152 to 138. I should have never bet on Who's but let's see. Oracle winning the week at 174 against Gatos. Terrible. Why couldn't I play Gatos this week or this past week? And Tuna beating Nate Gate 162, 132, and you triumphantly defeated Magic 109 to 66. Was that correct?
Yeah, I'll take it. I had a sloppy week last week.
Well, Nate Gate and I both picked you, so that was one thing we both got right. But let's jump into week 3 matchups and see if you'd like. You're more than welcome to make the picks also.
Yeah, we'll do it together. Go ahead. So, what's your first matchup you have on your board?
I got LTD versus myself. Of course, I'm taking me. I believe Nate Gate is taking LTD.
He's got Elliott starting. Cooper. Let's see here. Eckler really hasn't. I have him in one of my other leagues. I'm disappointed with him. Waddle really helped LTD out last week. Johnson Wentz with Philly. I don't like that either. Let's see. And the thing is, a lot of yours really goes on how Herbert is going to play and feel. And I would not be surprised I told my friends about this. If I was the coach after watching him play last week, I would give him a week or two. You don't mess around with a franchise quarterback. But they said this guy's tough as nails and nowadays and all these things they can strap around him. You just wonder how he'll prolong through the game because he's going to get hit. You know he's going to get hit. Mm-hmm. I think you're concerned about Lamb. I think Lamb will be okay. I still think he is a playable wide receiver 2-3. It says Swift is questionable. What's wrong with him?
He's had a bit of an ankle injury. I think that's one reason why he was held out after that big run last week. But hopefully he'll be okay. Knock on wood. My team's pretty beat up, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, everybody, this is, week 2 or 3 it's weird how things work out. You guys are really close, I think. It really depends on where Herbert is. I say if Herbert plays and they're playing or hosting Jacksonville, it looks like, yeah. So because you do have Herbert, I just don't trust Wentz versus Philly. And I haven't seen much from Eckler, and I don't like Elliott. I like to see 2 decent running backs. You got one good running back. Again, like your quarterback and your running back, question marks. But I'm leaning towards King Cooper week 3.
Ooh, I like it, dude. The King. You heard it from the Grizz himself. Moving on to first and goal and Nate Gate. I have first winning this. Nate Gate's got himself winning this. You can be the deciding vote.
McCaffrey versus New Orleans. Is that going to be his game? Let's see here. Russell Wilson hasn't shown much. San Francisco's got a good defense. And he didn't really have a great choice because he's got Tua at Buffalo. And honestly, I would play Tua after what he did and just roll with it. I don't think Russell really – I think Judy's hurt as well for Denver. Denver hasn't shown any signs of real aggressive offense like you think you would see. I thought Wilson would kind of come on the scene and do some exciting things. Has not happened. But he's also got Courtland Sutton, so I can see why he'd want to try to get some double points. Burkhead, that is just ugly. I'm not going to lie. Conklin, tight end. I don't know anything about the dude. Michael Thomas has actually come on the scene. He's been a weird player. I mean, all these matchups kind of – I mean, ugh. I would have to lean towards Nate Gate week 3 in that matchup, though, because I do like Hurts. He's looking good right now. And I'm waiting for some other things in that roster to just kind of go his way. And I honestly think that Chicago, hosting the Texans in Chicago, the Bears are not a good team, but I think Chicago could probably get some trash points in that game.
Definitely. I will say this, it's still a little early in the week, and Gold could update his lineup. I mean, after the week Tua had, I don't know how you keep Tua out of your starting lineup. But
yeah, I mean, that's a lot of points.
that is a lot of points. Next up, we got two members of the Evil Empire, Gatos and Sleeper, going head to head.
I think everybody in the league just wishes there was an atomic bomb at their houses that went off at the same time.
Yeah. Is there a way to like blow up both their teams? Everyone injured.
They'll never have any Ashton Cup committee.
That's
Never.
right. I think Nate Gate and I both have Gatos winning this, which is we hate picking Gatos, but Sleeper is just that bad this year.
Sleeper's in a rut right now. He knows it. I'm surprised he has not been more aggressive. I think he's holding out a little bit, hoping and praying that Kamara or somebody, Higgins, blows up the scene, or maybe Kyle Murray. But I sent him a trade for Pitts for like Juju Smith or something. I forget who it was, but I would unload Kyle Pitts so fast because we talked about this before, and I don't know we'll get into it now. Tight end position to me is just complete garbage. I hate it with passion. And Pitts, to me, is a guy. I think he went. Did he go round 3?
Oh man, let me see. I have to pull it up.
Round 3, but let's just say we made tight end a flex in our league. I don't think Kyle Pitts would even get drafted till round 9 or 10. I think that's the value of where tight ends actually are, and he has not done squat. I think Kyle Pitts is right now got 6 points going into week 3.
It is round 4, by the way. Pitts went.
Are off, but that's a high draft pick.
That's a high draft pick for nothing. So I'm going to go ahead.
I was looking at Gatos' team. AJ Brown, I didn't think was going to do anything in Philly because I wasn't really sure what Hurts was. But he's played good. Gabriel Davis looked great week 1. He's dealing with a little bit of injury. Dalvin Cook's Dalvin Cook. Aaron Jones has been looking good so far. Ryan does. I mean, and actually, Edwards-Helaire has really kind of saved Ryan. I think like you didn't know what was going to happen with him. I think Ryan's Achilles heel right now is Tom Brady. He just looks washed out to me. He needs to get an upgrade there somehow. And I think Ryan can maybe make a trade or maybe even find somebody on the waiver wire that possibly could probably supplant Brady, but you can't bench him just yet. I do think Brady's going to have a really hard game against Green Bay. We'll see.
Is Wentz still on the waiver?
Who?
Wentz.
Yeah. He's on. He's starting with what he's talked about at Al Murphy. The guy LTD's got.
That's right. Well, yeah, Gatos is missing out on some quarterbacks then. I'm assuming you're going with Gatos though.
Yeah, Ryan looks. I never, looking at his roster all the way down. If Gabriel Davis is healthy, I mean, Tom Brady playing bad still going to get 22, 23 points. I mean, he played really bad last week, and Brady does not really play consecutively awful. So I think Ryan does win that game by a good 20 points.
All right. Next, we got you versus Tuna here. I think across the board, Nate, and I picked you to win this. Let's see. By the way, we got about 7 minutes left. Just to FYI.
Well, let's see here. Kirk has been my saving grace so far. I did like him a whole lot. I thought his ADP was awful compared across the board. I really need Pittman to be healthy. And I got Knox hurt also. He's got a bad ankle. But I do think my running backs look good this week with Taylor, Montgomery, and Jacobs. But I really got to watch Pittman and Knox. And looking at Tuna, St. Brown, Hill are nasty. Carr is just a weird quarterback. He needs to get some life out of Henry. Firemouth's boring. DJ Moore. I mean, I hadn't heard anybody even mention his name. Where's he been at?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't know he was on the field.
I mean, he could do something. I mean, that's fantasy football, but I mean, that's my team. I do like my odds in that game and think I got a slight chance to have a little bit of an upper hand there.
Whew, I like it, dude. I like it. Let's hit this bottom of the barrel and talk a little Magic versus Whoza.
Am I looking at this correctly? Do I see projected 107 to 116?
Oh, so garbage.
Dude, that's ugly. That's Lamar Jackson questionable. It says Lazard's questionable, but Lazard sucks anyways. I do like his tailbacks, and he's got three decent. I like to look at tailbacks first because that can be more efficient, I think. And God, Magic Mike's just awful. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, Samuel and Chase are awesome, and then the rest of the roster just is awful.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
I like the guy. I like, Magic's awesome, but that team is not awesome. I'm leaning with Gerald.
Yeah, I'm actually. I picked Whoza. Nate actually went with Magic on this, so
been drinking some Whisper Creek or something.
He must have. Yeah. Next game, going from the bottom to the top, we got the game of the week.
Oh, that is critical.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Oracle and Drill. Whew. 2 high scores, 2 alpha males going head to head. What does it look like for you?
I'm taking Drill. I think Drill come back a little bit this week. Looking up and down, I think he just has a more stable roster. His running backs are weird, but Diggs and Jefferson was awful last week. And I think playing against Detroit, he's going to get – I mean, I could see Diggs and Jefferson having a combined 50 points. Mahomes 30 points. So right there, you got 80 points, and he can just get 10 points from everybody else in his roster. And I think that, I mean, I'm not slamming Oracle. Oracle's looking great and played great so far this year. Cup has just been amazing. You wonder how long this will stay up for. Chubb at Pittsburgh. Ugh. Pittsburgh. I mean, it could be. Looking at his Oracle made us have an okay week this week.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Nate Gate and I both have Oracle winning this. We like Oracle better on and off the field.
Those two teams are just so different. I mean, Drill's concoction of Patrick Mahomes and Jefferson and Diggs is disgusting, and that's going to be his bread and butter all year long.
Yeah.
And what Oracle needs is Joe Burrow to step up. I think if Joe Burrow steps up, Oracle does win, but I have not seen that yet.
Oh no, I agree. That could be the deciding factor. Actually, Joe Burrow might decide this game. It's kind of crazy to say, but
Drill is a Jets fan, and that's who the Bengals are playing this week. So it could be sweet injustice or sweet justice for Drill. Who knows?
Ooh, it's a double slap in the face of Drill. Whew. Smacking those Vipers right off his head.
At it though, I mean, I think for the first time, this is one thing I feel confident in saying. I think we're going to have a new champion in the league this year, first timer.
It's looking good, looking that way. Well, just a moment. I think Nate Gate is actually going to pop on and say a few words.
Good evening, Ashland Cup. This is the Nate Gate, and I'm joined as always by King Koopa. And what's going on, Grez? All right, so I'm calling in from the space station. I'm remote tonight, not even on the Zoom call, but I'm going to do my best to respond to your comments and give you my thoughts as well. So let's jump right into it. First off, week 2, we're already going to predict who wins it all. That's fine with me. Let's look at the top 3. Oracle is number 1 with 313 points. 30 points behind that is Drill, and then another 30 points behind him is me, and then a whole bunch of other people. Tuna, King, Gatos, Grizz, Huzzah, First and Goal, and LTD are all within 14 points of each other. So the battle for third is tight. First and second are really looking good. Oracle, I don't even know where to start with him. I mean, he has just got a solid team. Joe Burrow hasn't been doing what he needs to for him, but, Cooper Kupp has been showing up, and, he's been piecing together some wins. I mean, Chubb was this week. Chubb was fine last week, of course. He had Gibson last week. Waller's been solid. I'd have to check. I was going to talk about some players in a little bit, but Waller's he's been doing what he needs to do at tight end, which is, we'll get to tight ends in a minute, but Darren Waller's been doing what he needs to as far as tight ends go. And then Oracle ended up getting the Rams running back in Darrell Henderson Jr. Sorry, Magic. And then he just picked an awesome D at Tampa Bay. I'm just looking through Oracle's team. I think there's some gaps. If Mike Evans will stop getting into fights and Tom Brady, pulls his head out of his butt, I think Oracle's got a solid team, but I don't know that he's got a team that's built to last. Let's talk about Drill for a minute. He has, got off to a great start with two very solid wide receivers in Jefferson and Diggs. I think Sleeper is right on, and, he probably, both of those guys, especially Diggs, fell to him. And Diggs has just been paying off in spades. Just 2 amazing games. Jefferson had 1 amazing game. And Mahomes had an amazing game. And that really is what got Drill there. I see no reason why Jefferson and Diggs don't continue to produce. Mahomes should be fine. But, dude, Drill doesn't have running backs. So he's got some gaps there as well. I'd like to say that I feel good about my team, but that would be a lie. I've definitely got some gaps. So I think that the race is wide open. But I'm going to pick myself. I think, to answer your question, who wins it all? I think it's the Nate Gate. Next up, let's talk about the tight end position. Let's just say I disagree. I think tight end is key. If we've got kickers, we've got tight ends. If you want to get rid of kickers, I'll entertain a conversation about making another flex position and getting rid of tight ends. But otherwise, you got to have tight ends. If you got to start a kicker in a D, you need tight ends. Draft Genius Award. Top of my head, I think that Drill with getting Diggs. Why could I not remember Diggs? I think Drill getting Diggs would be my vote for Draft Genius. He stuck his neck out and got 2 wide receivers, and this isn't even a subject, but I mean, let's talk about wide receivers. They may be the new cheat code. For forever it's been running backs, but I think this is the year where if you went 0 RB like Drill did, it's paying off in spades. So quick on that. Let's see, somebody that's got a deeper cut. Probably it would be Oracle grabbing the Rams starting running back, Henderson Jr. or whatever his name is. So nice job, Oracle, picking that up. There's probably some other ones that I'm not thinking of right now. Can't wait to hear what you guys said. And just seriously, Oracle is just killing it. I know I just threw some shade at him earlier, saying his team's not built to last, but it's going to be hard to catch him. So he's definitely in the captain's chair so far. So it looks like you guys broke down who was going to how we did last week. Broke down our picks. I guess you pointed out that I went 5-0, so I got every game right except for my own. Blew it against Tuna. I thought that Jalen Hurts might get me back into it, but that was not to be. He basically didn't play in the second half because neither did the Vikings for the whole game. Our game of the week was not the epic matchup, Drill versus Goal. Goal's struggling. The only guy that's struggling more than Goal is Magic. So Goal needs to get his act together. I hope he waits one more week because I've got him this week. But yeah, King took down the sleeper in the nail biter. That was our actual game of the week. Nice work there. Huzzah and the LTD. That could have been game of the week too. That one was down to the last game. Like I said, Tuna didn't have any trouble against me, and Oracle definitely didn't have any trouble against Gatos. So yeah, good stuff. Let's talk about week 3 matchups. So first off, we've got the King himself versus LTD. I think this is going to be a close game, probably closer than Yahoo thinks because Yahoo is stupid. So right off the bat, Wentz versus Herbert, edge Herbert, but he is going up against Jacksonville. He is questionable. So that one's going to be close. If Herbert does good, it's because Mike Williams does good. That's another, King's got that stack. LTD's just got like a medium group of guys. There's almost no way he doesn't get 120, but there's almost no way he gets 160. Whereas the King's he's playing with fire. He's starting guys like Damon Pierce for Houston and Curtis Samuel, right? So those guys get hit, but King's range is anywhere from 80 to 160. I think I'm gonna pick the safety of LTD. I think that Herbert comes back down to earth, and I think Wentz has a good game against Philadelphia. All right, so next up we have got me versus First and Goal. So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling like we have got. I'm going to be in a good spot against First and Goal. It's going to be tight, but Russell Wilson, I think he has another bad game playing against the 49ers. I think Jalen Hurts is going to go off against Washington, so I'm liking my quarterback matchup. I'm scared of Devontae Adams. If he has another good game, I'm in trouble. And I think McCaffrey and Barkley are going to match each other. McCaffrey certainly had a better game this week that just ended. Time for Fournette to wake up against Green Bay. So, yeah, I like me going away with this one. Next up, we got Gatos versus Sleeper. The Ring Bowl, the two champs that have just been bringing home the bacon for much of our league's history. Problem is, Sleeper doesn't have a good team this year. He tried some stuff. It didn't work. Kamara may not play. He's got to play Najee Harris, against Cleveland. That might be a good game. That might be his best player. He's gotten nothing out of Pitts this year. Meanwhile, Gatos, if Brady shows up, Gatos is going to have a great game. And even if he doesn't, he's got A.J. Brown, who's just been Hurts' favorite target. He's got Aaron Jones at Tampa Bay. That should be a good one. Hopefully for Gatos, it's not a A.J. Dillon game. Mark Andrews has been solid. So, I'm liking Gatos with this one. All right, so next up we got Tuna versus Grizz. So I have a guess who Grizz picked there. I'm curious if if King deferred to our new co-host or not. But I'll tell you what, Tuna just lit it on fire last week, and Pittman didn't even play. Jonathan Taylor was terrible. But I think that everybody's going to adjust to the guys that surprised for Tuna. So I do think that Grizz wins. All right, so next up we got the Magic Man versus Huzzah. I'm not even going to look at that. It's obviously it's redemption time. Magic Man is going to make it happen. I don't know how, but it's going to happen. And then we got the championship, possibly the Super Bowl in week 3. We've got Drill versus Oracle. These two guys are leading the league in points, and I don't think this has got to be the game of the week. I haven't heard what Grizz and King have said yet, but this is obviously the game of the week. You know what? Why not one more game? I think it's time for Oracle to show up one more time and really show out. Because he's got his starting guys are better. The only thing that makes me hesitate is Mahomes going to Indiana. Indiana's terrible, but maybe that helps Oracle out. Maybe Mahomes only has to try in the first half, kind of like Hurts did last night. So I'm picking Oracle. I think he keeps it rolling. All right, so that's my calls as far as matchups. So I can't wait to hear what all the King and Grizz had to talk about. And I can't wait to see how the King splices this all together, especially with my crazy hand motions. But I hope you guys give the King a lot of love. He's been working really hard to make a really solid podcast. So, definitely give him a shout out. Tell him what a good job he's doing. And just remember, we're right and you're wrong.
Wow, that was a great, some insightful thoughts from old Nate Gate there. Grizz, I think it's about time for us to sign off. You have anything final to say?
Well, good luck to all. Hopefully, there's no more injuries this week. And go Bears as always. They might get a W. It'd be amazing, as bad as they are, to be 2-1. I'll take it. But the Grizz will be in Wilmington this week with Gatos and the commish, and you guys might get a video with the commissioner himself.
So hot. Looking forward to that hot vid action. There's an award. Got to go for the awards this year.
We need to get some, maybe not like this text thread. We need to get maybe a podcast worthy video, maybe some smack talk. We need to get something good. Wouldn't it be good? We had an award this year at the draft for the best video?
Best video. We will work on it.
Podcast. We do it every week. Somebody can talk some trash. Maybe have a trash talk minute. Who can do the best?
Unbelievable. Well, I just got to say good luck to everyone. And don't forget, we're right and you're wrong. See you next week.